So yeah, Cyberpunk's been out for a while now, and if you're wondering should you buy this game currently at 2021, I would say nah. There's still three really big reasons why you shouldn't buy this game yet, and one of them is that the quality of life for players is still unacceptable. So you can see I was spawned, well actually no, the trash can spawned onto me, and now I'm stuck in a trash can, and I cannot get out, and this results in me having to reset, and that's still happening a lot in the game. There's still way too many incidents of resets in this game even after many patches. But I guess what really needs to be discussed about this game is not only is the quality of life of the game bad for the player, the game is actually fundamentally not that fun because the gameplay mechanics, the character building, and just the enemy types in general, it's not gonna really make you want to play it often. So like the enemy encounters in this game is a really big problem. Like it has little to no variety. So you're pretty much going to face the same exact type of enemies from the beginning of the game till the end of the game, even in different areas of the game. So initially it's pretty cool, you know, I get this pistol, I'm shooting through walls, I'm throwing these grenades that, you know, can locate enemies for me, and once I have located the target I'm trying to hunt down, I'm gonna shoot through the door and the ceiling and kill him in the second floor. So that's actually really cool, except the problem is because there's no different enemy types, the game becomes very stale. Like I've learned the strategy since the beginning of the game, and I can literally do the same strategy until hour 75, until the end game, and I will be perfectly fine. Like there's no proper challenge or reward for time invested. So the gameplay progression really just becomes different ways for me to kill the same groups of enemies easily. And this probably is something that the developer cannot address in this game. Sure, you can fix the bugs and inventory issues that, you know, makes my quality of life better in the game. Fine. But the fact that there are no enemy variation, everybody just has a gun and they kind of fight the same way. They either come up to me or they hide behind cover, and they can't counter anything I can do. So I can literally, this pistol I have, it's an iconic special pistol, but you can get it in like the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the game, or first 30 minutes, and I can keep the same gun and never switch to other weapons. Like I don't even switch guns, I just keep this gun. Fight this way, the same exact way I learned ever since like level 2, and I can go to all the way to endgame. Like I can fight this to level 50. This type of setup is a recipe for disaster, and combined with the third biggest problem in this game is that character building does not tie into story nor give a sense of purpose to the user. So the main story is that, you know, you're struggling with, you know, Johnny in your head and all that. That's a very good narrative, but the character building has nothing to do with that. The character building is just about making V OP and fighting in different ways and different styles against the same group of enemies and constantly killing them. Like, you're too strong and there's no challenge. And the thing about the guns is, sure, there's plenty of guns in this game, but there's no reason to switch between guns because you can just carry one gun and do everything. Like, and the gear is even worse. Not only do they not work, so that's a quality of life issue. Let's ignore that for a second. But I am forced into wearing gears that have, you know, good stats and all that. So I end up looking exactly not how I want to look like. So there's no gear customization in terms of appearance. The idea of cyberware is excellent, but the developers missed here because you can just buy these cyberwares instead of having them tied into side quests. So there's no good side quest reward, or there's no structured way to make me build a character that is kind of related to the story. So what ends up happening is there's really no point to do any side quests except to, and they were saying if you do the side quest it kind of changes the story, but that's not impactful enough. Side quests should be tied into character building and character progression with the easiest way possible, with rewards, not just for experience points and street cred, but a specific type of gear that's gonna unlock, you know, V in a way that ties him or her into the narrative. Like the fact that there's that Johnny element in this game, and the user is trying to either, you know, not be close to Johnny or be more close to yourself, that needs to be tied into skill progression. Like maybe they should have done it in a way where you can fight more like Johnny So then Johnny has a certain, level tree. So if you level up your character in a way where you're fighting like maybe Johnny is like a pistol terrorist type of approach, and if you fight more and more like Johnny, then it leads you that way. Or you can fight more like V, who is more of like a hacker and melee style approach. That would have made the game more fun to just level up your character and maybe try different ways of fighting. You have to encourage the user to do different ways of fighting. Now, normally what a game would do is they have different enemy types, so you can't just play the game one way because there's an enemy that can counter. Like if you love doing pistols like I can, maybe there's a character in the game that is just completely counters pistols. So if you run into that enemy type, you gotta switch weapons. But if you switch weapons, you have to work on those skills. Otherwise, you won't be able to, fight the entire group of enemies who have variation properly. Like that would be a lot more fluid. Like if I have to start out in a fight from a distance against other AR enemies, and I have to use an AR myself. But then as the game progresses, maybe there are some enemies that will rush at me as the game gets harder, so that I can't just AR. Now I gotta switch to my pistol. Does this happen in the game? A little bit, but not nearly enough. It just feels like they did not do a good job putting out different enemy types and then structuring the missions with specific locations of maybe in this mission there are 3 enemies you can defeat with assault rifles, but then we're gonna counter it with 3 others that you have to fight with pistol. Like that option is absolutely not out there. So when it comes down to it, I'm not incentivized to build my character differently because I can be really effective just fighting this way. And then once I have figured out this one way of fighting, I can just kill everybody because the game also doesn't force me to change it up. I can just constantly be the same character style that I was early in the game, and I'm not punished for it, nor am I rewarded because my experience is not being rewarded for trying different things. And that, to me, is the biggest problem of Cyberpunk, and it's why I still believe until that's addressed somehow, I don't suggest you to buy this game yet. The quality of life is already bad, we all know that, but this issue cannot be ignored. The lack of enemy types is very, very troubling. And going forward, even with DLCs and such, hopefully they can add in maybe a new storyline with different enemy types. But in general, if you're just roaming around Night City like I'm here, and it's empty as heck too, like there's nothing going on here. But that's another quality of life issue. But there's just no purpose of me. Like I don't want to play this game. It's because I'm not rewarded for trying different things. Sure, maybe instead of pistoling everyone to death, I can hack everyone to death, but I'm just doing that for the sake of trying. I'm not being forced into it to complete a mission. And mission rewards are also bad. Main stories are okay, but side story missions, the rewards are just, they're not tied into character building, so it's random. So maybe I'm an assault rifle guy, but then I'm rewarded with a shotgun. Like, it's disorganized. And I think that's the theme for this game mostly still. It was rushed, and the details, and there's just no craftsmanship in the game. The details are much off. Is it fun in a general sense? Sure, maybe for the first 10 hours. But you will quickly figure out that this game is very stale, and it's just the same thing over and over again. So, very disappointed in this overall. We'll see how it goes as the game lasts longer and more update comes along. But that's my review of it, and that's my suggestion that you shouldn't buy this game just yet. So if you got any comments, leave it in the comment section, and I look forward to speak to you guys again very soon.